Hey, it's Shel Anderson, and welcome to Lunch Break with Shel. I would like to thank you so very much for joining me today for this edition of Stamp with Shel. I am an independent demonstrator located in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. I can be found on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube under Stamp with Shel. I blog daily at shelscreativecorner.blogspot.com, and I can be found on Pinterest at Shel Loves to Stamp. So today we are going to be having a play with the Honeybee Home Bundle. This is a gorgeous bundle of stamps and dies that has some really pretty greetings. Today we are going to be making a card that has a very unusual opening, and we are going to be making this card monochromatic as well. So we are going to get started. I am going to give you the card base so that we can cut it together so that you know exactly how to do it. First off, we are going to score this card at 2 1/8 from each end, and I just find it easier to flip it around and do each end at 2 1/8. Then we're going to slide it over and score it in the middle at 4 1/4. All right, now we're going to take it and we're going to put it in our paper trimmer, and we are going to turn it. And I'm going to hold this up close so you can see it. Here's our 3 score lines. We're going to be making cuts between this, through this, and over to here. So I'm going to put this in the paper trimmer at 1 3/4 of an inch, like so. We're going to put our cutting blade down, and we are going to cut between those score lines. Peek, there we go. So there's our first cut. And I'm just going to rotate this cardstock around. I'm going to go to 1 3/4, and we are going to do the same thing. Cut between those score lines. All right, pretty easy, right? Okay, now we're going to grab our bone folder, and we are going to score this side in, this side in, and then we're going to flip this, and this inside is going to look like a mountain. So all the cuts are on the inside of our card. This is what we're going for. And when we fold our card, it will be flat like this. And you're saying, wow, this woman has lost her marbles. Well, no, I haven't. All right, I am going to show you what we're going to do. I have 2 strips of white cardstock, and I am going to go under, over, and under, and slide that over there. And then I'm going to do the opposite on this side. I'm going to go over, under, and over. All right, so this is what we have. Okay, now we are pretty much done our base with the exception of some stamping. Now I have 2 pieces here of the Simply Marvelous DSP, and I am going to glue those on those inside panels just so we have a little interest. And if you stick with me around to the end of the video, I'm going to have another card with a different stamp set to show you. how to make this card. And this card looks difficult, but it's not. And let me tell you, it's going to be a big wow to whoever you give it to. They are going to think that you are a card making genius, which you are. They just don't know how easy it is. All right, so there's our inside. Here's our outside. So we have our belly band. Now, this one is going to be scored at, I can't remember, 2 3/8, I think. 2 3/8 and 6 3/4. 2 3/8. 1, 2, 3/8. We're going to score that. And then we're going to open this up so we can get to 6 3/4. And we'll score that. So this is kind of like a gatefold. And we're going to have a belly band that's going to go around this. And I'm just going to burnish these folds. And I'm going to grab a piece of sticky strip, or not sticky strip, I keep calling this stuff sticky strip, tear and tape. Old habits die hard. All right, so we will put this in here like this, and then I'm going to put my seam for this card in the front. And I'm just going to grab a paper piercer so I can remove that paper backing. And then we will put those together. You just need to make sure that you don't do this too tightly. All right, so now we're going to set that aside. And we are going to bring in our Stamparatus and do some stamping on this piece. This is actually going to be our focal image. And I'm just going to put this in my Stamparatus. And I am not going to be using a block for this one. I am going to be using stamping. So I'm thinking I'm going to put a greeting on the front. And how about stay wonderful? Doesn't that sound like a good greeting? All right. Just because I don't want to mess this up, I am going to slide in this piece of acetate and do a pre-stamp onto the acetate to see how everything's going to look. I'm not too worried about making it up properly. I'm just looking for placement and straightness. And as you can tell, Stay Wonderful is not straight. So we will lift that up. And try again and see if I've got it straight the second time around. Nope, I do not. It is still a little crooked. This end has to come down a bit. All right, third time's gotta be a charm. See, by doing this, I'm not wasting any paper. All right, that's good enough. I'm happy with that. Oops, move my paper. That's not so smart. All right, so I'm going to clean these stamps off, re-ink them, and stamp on my paper. And see how it turns out. And this is the Simply Marvelous DSP. That is a free celebration item. And I don't like that big glob ink there. or there. So I am going to erase it all and go again. I really don't want to ruin this one because it is my focal image. Beautiful. I'm happy with that. Let's take that off and we will clean those stamps and just set them on the stamp case so we don't lose them. And we'll clean off that acetate and put that away for next time. All right, so now we have our focal image. I am going to glue this onto the matte layer, which is, ooh, I got a little happy with my glue. My matte layer, which is basic gray. I'm just using different tones of gray and white for this card. This could easily be a sympathy card. Now, this is going to go on the front of the card like so. But as you can tell, the front is pretty plain and boring. So we're going to slide off that belly band and we're going to do some stamping. And I thought I would just use this image to stamp all over. Just twisting and turning and filling it in. Like so. All right, so when we slide our belly band back on there, it's not quite so boring. See what I mean? There's a little bit of backdrop there. All right, now I'm going to grab that tear and tape and I'm just going to eyeball this. And I just kind of want this in the center of this belly band. So I'm just going to lift this up, put a little mark, maybe if I had lead in my pencil. And lift this side up, put a little mark, okay? And that's going to tell me where to put my tear and tape. My ink out of the way before I have it all over me. And I love this stuff because it is so super strong. It's going to hold that focal image on very well. I'm just going to take my bone folder and burnish that. And then we're going to remove maybe the paper backing and put on our focal image. And you're thinking, I really don't know why she called this an unusual opening. Well, I'll show you here shortly. All right, that's on there. Give that a good little burnish. And I think, staying with the monochromatic theme, I can put a little bow in white very easily on this card using baker's twine. Maybe if I can get my bow to look right and not like it's drunk. There we go. We'll just, oh, wrong scissors. Those were my ribbon scissors. Trim that off. And we'll grab a little glue dot somewhere. And I'm just going to roll that up so it's tiny, so I can put it behind that little bow. And I am just going to put that right at, heavens, the glue dot was still on my finger. There we go. Right down there at the bottom. Okay, so there we are. So far, that's our card. We have some more stamping to do on the inside. All right, so we're going to take off our belly band and go back to the inside of this card. Now this is okay, but let's be honest, it's, what have I done? My strips are too short. I cut them too short. Heavens to Murgatroyd. Let me check my measurements. I apologize for that. I wrote them down here somewhere. 2 1/16 by 5 1/2. 2 1/16 by 5 1/2. Now I need my paper trimmer. Let's measure this up. I messed up. I am sorry. I did them by 5. 2 1/16 by 5 1/2. Let's see what I can do with this. Nope, that's too short. I need to grab a new piece of cardstock. Let me get that. So we're going to cut this at 5 1/2. Our card's not going to work if I don't have it the right length. There's 5 1/2. And I need 2 1/16. There's 1, 2. I'm very sorry about that. I'm trying to show you how to do something and then I do it wrong. All right, now let's do this again. Under, over, under. There we go. And over, under, over. That looks better. Now we need to do some stamping. All right, I'm going to bring in my ink pad, and I have a few different images here. And basically, I want to stamp these on the grayish areas. Okay, and I am just going to use the flower image on this bottom one. You just have to be careful that you don't go onto another area. All right, now I have this bee that I'm going to put here. And then I have another bee that I'm going to put right up there. All right, so that kind of dresses up the inside of the card a bit, but look, I said this was an unusual opening. This is a gatefold, but if you fold up your gatefold, look at this. We have more goodness. All right, so we need to stamp in here to make this interesting as well. So I have these flowers. I'm going to put those right on that panel. And then perhaps this bee going up here. And perhaps these flowers down here. Now I am purposely leaving the white areas of this card open purposefully because I want to be able to have a place to write some greetings and say some stuff. So this is what our card looks like from the outside. And when we slide off our belly band, it's a gatefold. We're going to open the gatefold and we'll see this. And inside, there's a surprise. Quite an unusual opening, right? And all from a standard size card base. So that, my friends, is our monotone, unusual opening card. And like I promised, I have another one to show you. This one uses On the Horizon stamp set along with the Amazing Silhouettes. And how I created this one is I stamped this tree image in Versamark on the front of this card because I didn't want the shadows stamped. Then I used markers and I colored in the image to get the watercolored tree. Okay, so then we'll slide off the belly band and our card front is basically a field near a beach with some birds. And when we open it up, you'll notice I used the more subtle side of this marble DSP on this card. And I stamped some images in here and then in here as well. All right, pretty cool, eh? I have never seen a card like this before. I've tried the Never Ending card before, but this one is totally different. It's totally unusual, hence the unusual opening. Thanks so very much for stopping by today. That's it for me. Bye-bye.